Welcome everyone, this is John with Living in Our 50s. Hope y'all are having a great day. What is this, vlog 33 then now? So it's February 2nd of 2026. I have kept reading in the book of the Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. Anyhow, I thought I probably wouldn't vlog every day about every chapter, but so far chapter 2 was really good, and I guess kind of what I came away from: if Jesus never chased approval, why do we? So it did take a turn in the second chapter as far as from a spiritual standpoint, and if I'm gonna be honest with myself, normally I would just cut it. I would stop reading if they even brought up Buddhism or something like that. But yeah, it's got some stuff in there that I think us Christians, if you consider yourself a Christian, that I think we need to consider. And how can we find that in Scripture? So I think that the line that I started with, it was if Jesus never chased approval, why do we? That was my biggest downfall in life, is that I've always chased other people's approval, even though I thought to myself I'm not. I actually was, and that's the part that I gotta stop doing. Part of that self-improvement, educating ourselves on the principles that are out there for things, because I know I don't know it all. Even though I act like it sometimes, I know I don't. So what does chapter 2, the Let Them Theory, remind us of? Something that Jesus modeled perfectly, and that was that he'd never chased approval. So much of our stress comes from trying to manage how others think, feel, or respond. We replay conversations, we worry about being misunderstood, and we carry disappointment when people don't show up the way we hope they would. But Jesus never did that. So why do we? People doubted him. They misunderstood him, and they walked away from him, and he let them. Not because he didn't care, but because he knew his identity didn't come from people. It came from the Father. And that's where, as Christians, that's where our identity should come from. This chapter teaches us that let them doesn't mean you approve of behavior or stop loving people. It means you stop carrying, I got to say that right. You stop carrying what was never yours to carry to begin with. Jesus spoke truth, set boundaries, and kept moving forward, even when others didn't follow. When people cancel, criticize, or choose differently than you would, let them. And then do what Jesus always did: turn your focus back to God and keep walking in purpose. The moment you stop chasing validation from people, you make room for peace, clarity, and obedience to God. In there she talked about, one of the stories she talked about was some friends of hers had posted that they had gone on a trip with other ladies and stuff. Anyhow, and she was immediately pissed off, because she wasn't invited, and she thought her mind started working on why didn't I started doubting her, all this stuff that wasn't true. Why did, and I can relate to that because, not long ago we had some friends that they had gone on a cruise and we weren't invited. There was 3 couples, one of which we had cruised with a couple other times, 3 times I think, and the other 2 couples we'd only cruised with once. But immediately my reaction was like, why didn't they say anything to us about it? Well, I knew deep down why, and I was able to get over it almost immediately. And that was because we didn't have the money to do that. Starting a business was straining and everything, so we didn't have the money to be going on a cruise, especially in Europe. I think that's where they went. I can't remember anyhow. Now, it would have been a bucket list cruise, and we'd love to do that cruise. But honestly, we couldn't afford it, and therefore I wasn't upset. Um, yeah, so I say that because I can definitely relate when you see people post, especially on social media. And I think we're going to start talking about social media and just the things that are out there. It's hard to tell nowadays what's real and what's not. So we'll delve into that a little bit deeper. But I think the big takeaway here on this is that if Jesus didn't let it bother him, why do we? So much of our stress comes from trying to manage how others think, feel, or respond. We replay conversations. We worry about when we replay those conversations, a lot of times we tell ourselves lies in those conversations. I'm glad I looked back at my notes, because a lot of times we tell ourselves lies. So we got to be careful of that. We worry about being misunderstood, and we carry disappointment when people don't show up the way we hoped. But Jesus never did that. He was doubted, all that, not because he didn't care. He let them, not because he didn't care, but because he knew his identity didn't come from people. It came from the Father. What I want to really impress upon y'all is that Jesus didn't chase people. He walked in truth. And the ones meant to follow, they followed. The ones that were meant to follow, followed. I love that. I think that's the best way really to describe it, is that it's a fact that he didn't go after people trying to convince them, come. He laid it out for them. They saw him for who he was. They saw what he could do. They saw the things that he did in life, and those that got it, they got it, and they followed. And that's how we are today. We can definitely follow when we see what the work that he's doing in other people. And being a bully, the big thing you got to understand about bullies is that they are disappointed in themselves and the way they feel, so they try to make others feel worse than them. And when you go into therapy, a lot of times there will be people who, they'll teach you those trigger points and what have you. Freedom starts when you stop chasing validation and start choosing yourself. Freedom starts when you stop chasing validation and start choosing yourself. Put that on your mirror or whatever for every morning, so that you can wake up and you'll see that. It'll be a good reminder for you not to chase after the validation from others. All right? So if you don't mind, just maybe like this video if this is something that piques your interest. If you like it, shoot a comment down below. But please, please, please subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on future videos. My content is going to kind of be a mix of things, but I'm going to keep on doing these daily vlogs more as an inspiration to try to help others that may be stuck, to get unstuck. There's a lot of people stuck last week on the ice and what have you, and they needed somebody to help them get unstuck. And sometimes God sends people to help you to get unstuck, and sometimes it's him that helps you get unstuck. So hopefully this makes some sense to you. Well, if it doesn't, put a comment down below. Let's talk about it. I just invite you to like this video and subscribe, and share it with somebody if you think this would help them. All right? Like I always say, if the Lord wills, we'll see you in the next vlog. God bless.